Subscribe to his YouTube channel and press the bell icon so that you never miss any update. Yes, it's totally free.
नमस्ते विभो विश्वमूर्ते नमस्ते नमस्ते चिदानन्दमूर्ते नमस्ते नमस्ते तपोयोगगम्य नमस्ते नमस्ते श्रुतिज्ञानगम्य नमस्ते नमस्ते विभो विश्वमूर्ते नमस्ते नमस्ते चिदानन्दमूर्ते
Living with Amma and Bhagavan is living in oneness. Their presence is freedom. around them, one experiences a sense of supreme comfort. Amma and Bhagavan are unique teachers. They impart the greatest insights of life in an easily understandable way.
If you do anything to increase the love in you, you will never discover love. If you would realize that there's nothing you could do about it, that is the beginning of love. In spirituality, the moment you realize there's nothing you could do about it, that is the moment it happens. As long as you keep trying, you will never ever get there, because that trying is the problem. That trying is the thing which takes you away from where you want to be. So you have to realize the futility of all effort. All effort on the spiritual path is futile. So if you could realize that, if it would hit you like a ton of bricks, then all effort ceases. The moment effort is gone, you are there. But as long as
these are naked truths that act like mirrors, reflecting your inner state and at the same time making you comfortable with it. They not only show you the truth, but also give you the strength to see it yourself. Amma and Bhagavan, all contradictions coexist. Their grace and blessings fulfill the desires of the desirous and also lead the desireless to emancipation. They appease the craving of those passionate and dissolve the craving in a seeker. They address the individual, and the next, the illusory nature of the individual. Be it awakening, spiritual insights, or power, exclusiveness does not exist for them. Amma and Bhagavan do not believe in a chosen few people making claim to divine power. That is why the Diksha revolution. Oneness movement, founded by the divine avatars Sri Amma and Bhagavan in the year 1989, has a following of over 100 million across the length and breadth of India and the world today. The uniqueness of the movement is its power of Diksha. Diksha is a phenomenon that is sourced in the consciousness and the intent of Sri Amma and Bhagavan. The avatars maintain that a fundamental change in consciousness is possible only through a direct transfer of divine power, since no effort, however intense, could lead one to freedom. Enlightenment is a happening, not a result of a practice, says Sri Amma Bhagavan. Their uniqueness lies not only in giving enlightenment to others, but also in giving others the power to transfer the state. Thus, oneness continues to affect human consciousness. Bhagavan, how would you explain the concept of avatar to a Western audience?
An avatar could be a musical avatar, he could be a mathematics avatar, he could be a political avatar, he could be a spiritual avatar. By avatar, what is meant is somebody who comes with a specific mission on the planet and who is divinely inspired and through whom divine energies flow. So that's what is meant by the word avatar. But many are not aware that avatars can cover every field of human activity. They think it's basically it pertains to spiritual work, but it isn't so. But I happen to be a spiritual avatar.
What makes you different from other avatars and teachers of the past who also seem to have given enlightenment to a few people?
I think more than my being different, I think I have come at a different time. The other avatars prepared people for enlightenment, for liberation, but they could not give it to them, not because they were not capable of giving it, but because the times were not yet ready for that. Now I come at a time when the earth's energies have changed and man is very receptive and it is possible to give him enlightenment. So my advantage is that I have come at the right time, at a time when it's possible to give it to man.
How is your consciousness as an avatar different from that of someone who is enlightened?
Yes, at this point of time the only difference could be in the intensity of the awareness or the intensity of the bliss. But otherwise there's no basic fundamental difference. But as his nadis open up, they become stronger. His levels of awareness also would increase and the gap would soon close. But it would take a little time. But fundamentally there's no great difference, except that I got some additional facilities, like I can see what's going on in some other place, what's happening in somebody's mind, how to help him. I can really interfere and help him in his life by taking what we call sankalpas, or strong wishes. So, but these two people will be able to acquire in course of time. Already a few of them have acquired this in small measure.
So you and Amma are both avatars?
Yes, we are both avatars. We are like two sides of the same coin. We are like friends in real life, but we have excellent understanding and communication. Sometimes we don't even have to talk. We know what's going on. And we work like one being when it comes to enlightenment and to helping people.
How do you and Amma keep track of the Diksha processes of people world over?
Actually, we function at two levels. Like when I'm having this conversation with you, certain things are switched off because I could hold a meaningful conversation. But other times, those switches are on, and at any given point of time, one could experience a lot of human beings, what's going on in the mind, in their consciousness, can interfere, and we can do many things. And that dimension is not known to man. I'm not claiming this as something very special to me, because whatever I'm experiencing, I believe in making others also experience. But there are also others who are now come to that level, where simultaneously you can experience a few hundred beings at the same time. That is a faculty which is very natural to man, and I think which is going to open up in many people. But to me it happens very naturally, because of what all has happened to me in my early life. I can at a given point sense 100,000 strong crowd and go into them and do many things.
Would you throw some light on the various stages of enlightenment?
Basically, in this process of enlightenment, the first thing which most often happens is the flowering of the heart. That is, you for the first time discover real compassion, real love for other human beings. And then as this becomes deeper, you lose the sense of separateness. Even at this point, we really do not call you fully enlightened. We call you fully enlightened only when you are experiencing reality as it is. But to experience reality as it is, these are some kind of prerequisites. Only then it happens in a big way. So these may be called stages of enlightenment.
Is enlightenment synonymous to oneness?
That is equivalent to oneness. But of course, oneness itself takes off from there, and then it finally becomes oneness with God, or oneness with cosmic consciousness. It is the ultimate oneness.
Is each person's enlightenment absolutely unique?
Is absolutely unique. It depends upon his background, his conditioning, what happened in his childhood, his own seeking, his religious conditioning. So all these things are involved.
How do you give enlightenment? How is it possible to give it to another?
Yes. Basically, it is what we call the process of Diksha. And this Diksha is some kind of electrical energy which translates into some kind of a hole in the mind of man. We believe that the mind of man is like a wall which divides man from God. The Diksha, though it is some kind of electrical energy, it does make a hole in this wall which we call the mind. Once that happens, a man and God come to relate to each other. And the way they would relate depends upon his background, his conditioning, his aspirations in life, his education. So many factors are involved. And then thereafter it is God who gives enlightenment. Whether we call it God or cosmic consciousness or nature, call it what you want. So that takes over.
Is this something for which you have been preparing for a long time?
Yes, my whole life has been some kind of preparation for this ever since I was a child. My only concern was how to liberate man from his suffering. These were not things which I arrived at through my own life experience, because I myself was a child. Rather, I was forced to be concerned about man's suffering and to work for that. That is why I am an avatar, because I never arrived at these conclusions. I was just made to do these things by a higher energy, by a higher force, which we call the divine energies or God. That's why I am an avatar. So ever since I've been a child, I've been made to do certain practices. No human made me do these things, but I was made to do these things by higher energies. So I've been doing all that for many years. So that has given me the ability to directly, I myself do not give Diksha. I make others give Diksha. So I'm more like a powerhouse, and the others are like a step-down transformers who receive the energy and then pass it on to people. So my function is to remain as a powerhouse for some time. And that's how Diksha is given and how enlightenment or God realization occurs.
Does the Diksha process affect the brain?
Yes, when we give Diksha, it's more like passing on some kind of electrical energies which do affect the brain and the spinal column and what we call the ductless glands or the chakras. So most often the work is being done on the frontal lobes and the parietal lobes of the brain, where there's more activation of the frontal lobes and some kind of deactivation of the parietal lobes, plus certain energies are being sent into the ductless glands and reactivating the ductless glands, which go by the name of chakras. So all this in turn produces what we call the hole in the mind, and a link is established between man and God. Thereafter what happens is God's work. When we make the hole in the wall, it's God who takes over, and then He works on your senses. He liberates the senses from the mind, from the clutches of the mind. When that happens, you lose yourself. That part of the work is done by God Himself. Because He being the creator, it needs a complete reorientation of the brain, and He takes over.
what is your view of the various faiths of the world?
I believe that different religions are required to handle the different needs of the people. I have seen people sometimes require a particular religion to handle a particular problem, or because his background needs the inputs of a particular religion. And I personally have never had any difficulty with people of any faith, because the Diksha is some kind of a neutral thing, and the Diksha only activates certain areas of the brain or deactivates, and the person discovers what his religion has taught him. So he discovers the truths of his own faith, because what I do or teach is not a new faith, is not a new religion, is not anything new at all. It merely helps you to discover what you have been seeking all these years. So I personally have no conflict with the people of any faith.
Apart from the gift of enlightenment you offer, we also see the same kind of miracles and healings that happened around Jesus happening again right now. Please say something about it.
Yes, I would say that this is the continuation of the work which Christ left behind. So this should have happened in fact 2000 years ago, this transformation of man, but for some reasons it got aborted. So now the same thing has come back. So in the Dikshas, people would be getting in touch with Christ consciousness, especially in the West. They would be discovering that same consciousness which Christ was trying to give them. So it's no different from that. In fact, I would say that would be true Christianity, as Christ intended it to be.
How is it that the Dikshas are becoming more and more powerful with every passing day?
This phenomenon is about 12 years old, and we have found that at certain intervals it becomes more powerful. So what we have discovered is, the more the people who get that state, it becomes easier to get that state. So obviously there is a field which is absorbing all these transformations and is able to transmit to others much faster. We can see it in action.
We have heard you say that we need 64,000 people to alter human consciousness. Why that number?
Because somehow that seems to be the necessary number for making this happen very spontaneously. It seems to have something to do like with figures like, if you have 33,000 births, you have one twin birth. If you have 33,000 twin births, you have a triplet. And 33,000 triplets, you have a quadruplet. Then the cycle stops and a fresh cycle begins. So that there seems to be some connection with these numbers. But these are factors which have been revealed to us. We don't fully understand the dynamics, but these were revealed to us. We go on the basis of a revelation. A revelation not which comes to one person, but which happens to a lot of people over a long period of time, which is what we accept as revelation. That becomes our roadmap.
People often believe that once you are enlightened, you leave the mind behind. Is it true?
You could be completely free of the mind. I am talking about a transformation where you become free of the mind. I am not focusing so much on the transformation within the mind. That the psychologists, the philosophers, they can do. And they are doing a fairly good job. So one need not have to waste time on that. So I am talking of becoming free of the mind itself.
You say the mind is very ancient. What do you mean by that?
By that I imply that basically its structure has not changed. That fear is still at the core of the human mind. Earlier it could have been fear of the tiger or the lion, but today it is fear of the stock market. It could be fear of losing a job. You could have been anxious about the weather. Today you're anxious about your job and other things. And the same craving is there, the same desires are there. The object of desire has changed, but the desire to be something else is still there. So fundamentally man has not changed. That's why I call the mind very ancient. Only the objects have changed. The objects of craving, the objects of fear, the objects of anxiety, they have changed. But fundamentally it's the same old mind, living continuously in fear, continuously becoming, moving from what you are to where you want to be. It does not stay put. It is not where it should be. So it's continuously moving away from where it is. And this movement is in fear. So that way there's basically no change in man. So I do not see any change in between the Homo sapiens and Neanderthal man. Because we have the ability to experience people who lived earlier. So we see they're fundamentally the same.
The biggest gift you are offering seems to be that effort is not necessary on the path of enlightenment. It sounds incredible.
That's the poor mind cannot do anything. It is conflict ridden. It is in opposition with itself. It's repetitive in nature. It's too ancient. So really it can't do much. It has to realize it is helpless and give up. That's when grace can take over.
During this global transition, would the relationship between man and God change?
There is a change. Something very epochal is happening here. There's a definite change. Man is coming very God is coming very close to man, and man too. Because it was a lost relationship. They were supposed to have been very, very close in the former golden age. They were supposed to have walked and talked together, you know. Then there was a strange alienation between man and God, and it had degenerated in the subsequent yugas. So now that the golden age is back, man and God have to come together. They become friends once again. That's it.
You speak about designing your own God. What do you mean by that?
When I say designing your own God, I don't mean that you create your God. A God is somebody who creates you, and you don't create God. But then the way he's going to treat you, the way he's going to conduct himself with you, depend upon how you expect him to conduct himself with you. This is taken from the Hindu concept of Bhakta Paradina. That is, God is dependent on the devotee. So if he wants him to be a friend, he behaves like a friend. If you want him to behave like a mother, he behaves like a mother. So it is in your hands to design the way he's going to behave with you. That's what I say, you create your own God.
Would a difference in one's perception of God make it easy to receive this gift?
It makes it very easy to receive the gift. If your approach to God is a very friendly one, then you don't even have to pray. Just you ask him and he gives it to you. And thousands of people have this kind of relationship. So I'm only talking only when people have really achieved it, not before that. So people have made God their friend. They live with a friendly God.
Is God masculine and feminine as well?
Masculine as well as feminine, or just is light or formless. It all depends on you. Many have only formless God. Many have it as light. Some even have as both male and female. The complete freedom is the person's. It's the individual's choice.
People have been seeking enlightenment over several lifetimes. How is it possible now?
See, when I look at a person, I do not see him as a first-timer. I can only see millions of years behind him. So I believe that all of humanity have finished all the work they need to do. I think everybody is well prepared through so many lives. And therefore, now is the time to get it. All the hard work has been done. I think everybody has done his hard work, and the fruit is there to be had.
Bhagavan, when you say people will become enlightened spontaneously, what will this look like in practical terms?
In practical terms, the world would look very different. We would not be able to talk in terms of my being an Indian or you being an American or somebody being an African. We cannot talk in terms of races or nationalities, or I can't say I'm a Hindu, you're a Muslim, or you're a Christian. So all these things which divide man would just disappear. Not that man gives up these things, they naturally drop off. There's no need for these things. We become just human beings. No kind of division would ever exist. We would all become like one family. It's not that it is a concept or that we arrive there. It just happens. That is when we truly become humans. But as long as we are going to divide ourselves in terms of nationality, religion, culture, race, we still continue to be tribal and very primitive. We would have truly become human. That would definitely happen.
There are many people who are consciously destroying the earth for their own self-centered pursuits. What about these people?
All this would dramatically change. Because man would soon realize that earth is a living organism, that he depends on it like his mother. So nobody would even dare think of harming the earth. Not as some kind of education, but as a natural happening. That's what would happen. So we are going to see a very different earth, a very different world. I'm not speculating, I'm just speaking directly from the visions thousands of people have had over the last decade, from various continents, in fact.
Many scientists are predicting global warming, possible ice age, or a major environmental catastrophe. You, on the other hand, are so sure of planetary enlightenment.
Their predictions are quite true, but what they are not aware of is that we have seen in our visions a great transformation sweeping across the planet, which in turn prevents these things from happening. And already we are seeing signs of people becoming enlightened. We are seeing it in some Indian villages, how it's able to spread rapidly, and the consequences on the environment we are able to see on a very small scale. So from that we are able to predict that on a global scale this transformation is going to occur, which is what is going to save the earth. If that does not happen, then what the scientists are predicting would very well come true. But there's no need for them to lose hope. The things are going to change dramatically. In a very unexpected way, things are going to change. That's why, in fact, we are telling people the house is on fire. Let us move faster. Let's hurry up.
When people become enlightened as a collective, would it actually change the physical quality of the earth also?
There's a very close correlation between human consciousness and the physical processes occurring on the planet. So the moment the conflict levels are reduced in human consciousness, we find dramatic changes at the earth level also. Like you'll find a reduction in insects, in pests, and the nature behaving in a much better way, reduction in floods and volcanic eruption. All these things are a natural consequence of the reduction of conflict in man's consciousness. Because there is such a close correlation between the two.
So, Bhagavan, do you have any plans to travel outside India?
Certainly not in the near future.
Okay.
Maybe sometime it may be possible. Because I don't really need to travel. I can do my work from wherever I am.
Do you feel your work would be over sometime?
Most certainly, yes. Because the moment the world is enlightened, I think my work is over. The moment humanity has become one humanity, there's complete oneness, divisions have ceased, all kinds of divisions have ceased, I think my work is over. I am here to remove all divisions in whatever form they might exist.
Bhagavan, is there something you would like to tell the people of this world?
I would like to tell them that though humanity faces a lot of obstacles and danger seems to be lurking around the corner, I would like to tell them that redemption is around the corner, that we are going to make it.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no country.
Oneness movement, founded by the divine avatars Sri Amma and Bhagavan in the year 1989, has a following of over 100 million across the length and breadth of India and the world today. The uniqueness of the movement is its power of Diksha. Diksha is a phenomenon that is sourced in the consciousness and the intent of Sri Amma and Bhagavan. The avatars maintain that a fundamental change in consciousness is possible only through a direct transfer of divine power, since no effort, however intense, could lead one to freedom. Enlightenment is a happening, not a result of a practice, says Sri Amma Bhagavan. Their uniqueness lies not only in giving enlightenment to others, but also in giving others the power to transfer the state. Thus, oneness continues to affect human consciousness.
Subscribe to his YouTube channel and press the bell icon so that you never miss any update. Yes, it's totally free.